Alright, man, I'm gonna try to see if I could record this one last time. Christ, I've been trying to record this for a while. It's just um the last time I put the thing on, it was like kind of recording, but not really. Um, but hopefully this time we get it down. We'll talk about live action today, right? And of course, the reason I want to talk about it is because of the recent success of One Piece, the live action, um, and I think it's worldwide success, right? And the things that they did right, and the things that people said others did right or wrong, and how we could see that has nothing to do with it. So let's get those out of the way first. A lot of people think diversity is a weakness. That diversity is there needs to be less of it in movies for it to be more successful. Of course, they're not going to go out there and say it, but they are going to complain if they see like the Little Mermaid look a little different, or somebody not look as goofy as in a cartoon. Right, that's what people think, or what you see people talk about. You know, there's actually channels out there that talk about diversity being a weakness, and the reason that American comic books are doing so bad is because of the inclusion of you know other types of people in comic books. Now, we could see that that is incorrect, right? We could see. I've been knowing that it's incorrect. The reason for that is because we've had diversity in comic books since forever. You know, it's only recently that it's been a problem. It's only recently that people, because of political reasons and because certain political parties tell them to be mad at certain things, you know, they go out and they find some comic book to complain about. They see a black Spider-Man. Oh, I don't like that. Or they see, whatever that it doesn't, is just different. And they say there's bad. Right. Of course, like I said, now we can see that's not the case. Because One Piece, definitely has one of the most diverse cast that I've seen in a while. Castings, and I think it was one of the best castings in live action anime adaptations. So, um, so we could see that like it's like I've always said, diversity is actually a strength. And the reason is that the U.S. was so successful in casting the roles that it did is because we are the most diverse nation in the world, and you can find anybody here. And if you don't find them, they'll get here, to make that money, right? And so so that's one of the things that the people that were complaining got wrong was that diversity is a weakness, and we could see that it's not. Um, right. The other thing, um, I think that's probably the only thing that they got wrong. I guess you could say, um, 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 now the politics part. A lot of people are gonna say, oh, um, the reason a lot of these other movies are doing so bad is because they put politics into their source material. Like, for example, comic books, or putting politics into live action, whatever, any medium. And that's not true. I mean, One Piece in this situation, it wasn't as political, believe it or not, as the original source material, right? We already know that the author, I think his name is Goda or Godot or something like that. I can't. It's Oda or Goda, something like that. I think maybe the G's silent. I'm not sure. I'm bad with names. Sorry. But the point is, you know, we know that he's a fan of Che Guevara. We know that he's a fan of Latin American revolutionaries, especially like Mexican revolutionaries, the ones that used to wear straw hats. You could see pictures of them all the time in in black and white photos. They had those big sombreros, and most of those were straw hats. And all throughout Latin America, that there's the Colombian straw hat, there's um, Brazilian straw hats, uh, all throughout this side of the world. You know, the connection between straw hats and revolutionaries is big. Um, and I feel like he was trying to channel that with Luffy. I'm not sure, but I feel like that's what it was. And even asking him, he would tell you, that Luffy was either had to be Brazilian or Mexican, right? Which is why they picked what is his name? Inyak Godoy, I think is his name. Inyak Godoy, um, which is a weird name. I think it's super Spanish. It's like Spanish, hardcore Spanish. I think, uh, or it could be Jewish Spanish. I'm not sure. I'll have to like research it. Um, but it's just interesting to see how wrong people are about that. About not putting politics into anime or any of it. You know, it's definitely in there. You know, and I think the people that are being sensitive about it are just being sensitive because the politics that they're pushing is not what they want to push, or is not according to what they want to do. But the thing about artists is they're always gonna side to that side. Something more free, something that's more, um, and that more like, yeah, like more free. Like you look at one thing I like about Luffy, is that he doesn't think that he's better than anybody. He doesn't want to force people to do this, that, or the other. He's very much, I'm gonna let you do you, and I'm going to help you do what you want to do. And but if you don't ask for my help, then I'm not gonna go, barging into your village and forcing you my ideology or whatever. And I think that's perfect, man. I think that's better than someone like, for example, Naruto, or someone like, who could I feel like Superman would probably be like that, um, or he has been like that. I feel like a lot of superheroes would be like that. They're very self righteous, in their actions, and I don't think Luffy is a hero. Luffy is more like a adventurer, and he's more like, he's a little bit more free, and that's what I like about him. So, um, but yeah, man, and those are the things that they didn't that weren't a factor. All right, those are the things that people were wrong about. But now let's talk about the things that they did correctly, and the things that we should learn from the way this live action adaptation was made, and the way, um, hopefully it should be done in the future. So number one is, uh, trying to follow the source material or not changing the source material too much, right? So if there is already a good story that's been successful around the world, that's already loved by the fans, which I'm gonna get to the fans in my part of my third point. Then don't change it too much, or if you change it, try to keep that feeling. This is what you're gonna do. All right, this is my advice. Right, you find the feelings and the lessons that it taught people. Right, you find those, you you detect those. Right, you acknowledge those, and you try to keep those intact. You try to keep those intact. All right, 100% keep those intact. And then everything else you could start tweaking a little bit to become more realistic and to become more adaptable for live action. But if you keep that underlying message, if you keep that underlying spirit, you're going to still produce those feelings in people, and that's really what it's all about. You want to still produce those emotions in people when they watch One Piece. And I feel like that's what they did here. I mean, they made very small changes. Most of those changes were made because of time. I think time constraints and the amount of time they had to work with, and the level of story that they had to get down. Right. So that would be the number one thing that they did correctly, and the number one thing that most of the hopefully the other live actions are gonna follow as well. Then number two thing that they did right is they contacted the creator, which is Goda, right? I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Goda. Um, they contacted him and they asked him for advice, and they respected his wishes, and they made him like a consigliere or whatever you call that. They just kept him around and they respected his wishes, and that's what you got to do. Most successful live actions, across the board, be it anime, comic books, or video games, should follow that. And most of the ones that have been successful, follow that um, process of calling the author of the original source or the creator of the original source, bringing them in, talking to them, asking for advice. Is this okay? Is this costume okay? Is this actor okay? Is this cast? If should I cast this guy or should I do the other guy? You know, everything. That guy should be in everything. You call him and you ask him questions on everything. All make a list of questions. You know, um, and and that's what it's gonna take. That's my that's my number two. And hopefully that's what's happening with these next live actions, because I think they're gonna try to do Yu Yu Hakusho, which should be interesting. They're gonna do Avatar: The Last Airbender, which you already know how they messed up the last one. Um, and we're gonna see what happens, man. Because the number three thing that they should get right is not turn against the fans. All right, now a lot of times I've said that the fans sometimes are wrong. Well, a lot of times are wrong. And if you follow the fans too much, you're going to mess up, right? So if you don't have the first two down, right? If you don't have the first two things that I mentioned, which is following the source material and calling the author in, don't don't even mess with the fans. All right, don't even try to communicate with the fans, because you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what they want. You don't know what type of people they are. Some of these fans are crazy. Some of these fans, um, they're not friendly. You know what I mean? So you got to know the fans right away. So we could even make this number one. So number one, if you're gonna pick a source, like you're gonna pick, like say Dragon Ball, you gotta understand those fans, if they're crazy, if they take it very seriously, how old they are, you know, you have to know those fans, and don't turn your back on them. Don't attack them. You know, even though they get on your nerves or whatever, or because let's be honest, some fans are crazy. You know, some fans are certain fan bases are annoying. You know, and I'm a Dragon Ball fan. You know, I will admit I was never a One Piece fan. You know, um, I never read the manga or watched the anime. You know, I watched the live action, and the reason I wanted to watch the live action is because it wasn't looking as goofy as the anime, and I can't get into something if it looks as goofy as it does as One Piece does. That's just me personally. So when the live action came in, that eliminated that problem out of the way. You know, and of course you see some of the fans complaining about it doesn't look as goofy, but that's why I like it. I'm glad that that one black character doesn't have a big nose, a big long nose. That's good for me. That's a good thing. You know, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want some goofy shit to look at. All right. If you want to watch the anime, go watch the anime. You know, this is live action. So, and that's one of the things I do want to complain about is how these pirates were a bit too clean. And if you know anything about pirates, is that they're dirty motherfuckers. You know, they're in the sea. They're not definitely not washing up so much, right? Because they're in a boat. They're constantly working up and down. You know, they're sweating. You know, I think Zoro is he's like a gym bro, so he's working out 24/7. So you know that motherfucker's stinky, right? So and then you look at him and he's always fresh looking, and then you look at and Luffy. Luffy for sure stinks. All right. Don't even get me started on Luffy. That why do you think he wears shorts, and he doesn't wear a shirt? That's like that's Acapulco attire, bro. That's that tropical. That's that Mexican tropical shit, bro. Um, but anyways, that was like a little joke. But getting back to what I'm saying is, like, you gotta know the fan base, right? Don't attack the fan base like the Snow White girl did. Like, look at the mistakes these other people made. Right? Let's go to Snow White. She's already starting off wrong by attacking the fan base, even though they may not be real fans. You know, they may be trolls. Because trust me, 45-year-old men with beards don't care about Snow White. They're politicizing it. They're trying to make it about something that it's not. You know, I get it. You could say in your head, you could say, fuck those guys, right? But just don't say it in front of the cameras. And don't try to demonize people by making up shit like you did. You know, I'm specifically talking to the Snow White lady, which is probably not listening to this, but I'm just saying, like, don't do that. Even if sometimes the fans are stupid, right? Which is a thing. Okay, now examples of fans asking for dumb shit are all through history. But what a creator has to do is try to focus on the artwork. You know, try to focus on how to keep a lot of these factions happy. You know, if you're going to go into a project, you have to know your people that you're selling it to, and you have to try to not butt heads with them because they're the ones that are going to buy it. They're the ones that are going to spread the word. You know, especially your anime fans, right? Anime fans, if they like your stuff, they will spread the word fast, and you'll get more people. You know, they're like preachers. You know, they'll go out there and be like, "Have you heard of One Piece?" All right, so you want to keep them kind of happy. You know, kind of. Now, let me talk a little bit about some bad examples of why you shouldn't always listen to fans. a long time ago. There's a guy got Toriyama, Akira Toriyama. He invented Dragon Ball Z. I'm sure you probably heard of him. Anyways, this guy he made one of the greatest characters ever. Of course, he kind of copied Superman a little bit, but this is like the Asian Superman, so there was a lot of things that he changed. But the point is, he created this character called Goku, and he made a whole story of Goku and everything. He was a little kid. Boom, he was Dragon Ball Z. He started drawing Dragon Ball Z, and the people fell in love with this character. The people started, wearing T-shirts about this character, making fan art of this character. Turning him into a god. Everything. Toriyama got tired of it. He didn't say he got tired of it, but as an artist, I could tell you that Toriyama wanted to move on from Goku. Why? Because that's just the nature of art. That's the way we are. We draw something for a long time, we get tired of it, we either want to change it by making his hair blue or green, or we just move on to another character that we enjoy drawing a lot more. Which in Toriyama's case was Gohan. So he was planning to kill off Goku with a heart attack and making Gohan the main character. Alright? This was the plan that he was coming up with in the Buu saga. No, was it the Buu saga or the Cell saga? Damn, I gotta go back and no. I think it was the Android saga, and then because he was they predicted he was gonna have a heart attack. The point is, I don't remember exactly, but the point is that he was gonna get killed off, and Gohan was gonna be the new hero, right? That was the plan. But of course, the fans, started bitching, and they say, no, this is bullshit. Bring back Goku. We want our Goku back. This is not my Dragon Ball type shit. And guess what happened? He changed it again. He was like, all right, I'll bring back Goku. And now Toriyama said never again, right? But now guess what happens? Now the fans nowadays are now they're bitching about that, and now they're saying, "Oh, when is Vegeta gonna get the shine? Oh, when is Gohan gonna get back on it? What happened? Well, Gohan fell off. When is Gohan gonna be the main hero? We're tired of Goku." It's like, bitch, Toriyama tried to do that. Like how many years ago? Like what, 10, 15 years ago? He tried to do that shit. He was bitching about it then, and now. This is why I say the artists are always right. The artist will always be right? Because it's his job to create. It's your job to consume. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. That's not right what I said right there. But I'm just saying, like, the artist is always right. Okay? But even they have to cave into the fans a little bit. Unfortunately, later they're gonna come around like they did with Toriyama, right? And then they're gonna realize, oh yeah, you were right about that. But sometimes you just gotta keep them happy, dude. That's sometimes that's what you gotta do. All right. So that's a good example of the fans being wrong. Okay, and that's a bunch of other examples that I can give you. Most of the time they're wrong because they cling on to these characters that are fictional, by the way, but they just they have so much invested in these fictional characters that they don't want to see them die. They don't want to see them change. They don't want to see them get old. They don't want to see them have children. They just want them to be there. And an artist, we don't like that. I could tell you personally that I don't like that. I want to see progression. I want to see character progression. I like to see that. And it's one of the reasons why I like Street Fighter 6 so much, because we're finally seeing some character progression with everybody in there, especially Ken, and some of these other characters. So, but that would be my number 3, is be careful with the fans. Kind of be diplomatic. Try don't be don't stop being an artist, but at the same time, try to jab and stay in the pocket when you're trying to fight the fans. You know, don't necessarily just attack them, dude, because that's a big no no. You know, even though I kind of went off on them right now, but you know, if you're a famous artist, you know, you got to understand these characters, they don't belong to you anymore. You know, they belong to the people now, and because they belong to the people, you have to tread lightly with these changes that you're gonna make. Um, because it's just the nature of the game, dude. And I think um, Rick and Morty talked about it in an episode. I think it was the train episode, to where it was talking about how you know these characters take a life of their own, and now they're just people just ask questions and questions and what's Goku's favorite this go, which is fine. But then if you give them naturally they don't like, you know, they just start you know, making this political or whatever, you know. So it's a dance that you got to dance. Um, but anyways, that is it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't piss off anybody out there, and I hope that we get more good live action adaptations, right? Because I think this is a good thing. This is a good sign for the future.